Today we're going to look at my wedding audio gear, break it down by what parts are needed, break down my audio cable bag, my audio equipment bag, what I use on my camera. Hey guys, my name is John Spartman. I'm a wedding photographer and videographer based in Birmingham. You can find me at jdsweddings.com. Audio is a really important and sometimes underlooked aspect of wedding videos. Oftentimes people will focus on the equipment, the video equipment first. Maybe they're like me, they've come from photography, want to break out into video because they see it as an exciting new avenue. Maybe it's more akin to their styles. They prefer longer video shooting rather than short sessions of photo. What most people will do is they will start recording in 50p, do a playback which is half speed, and then get a nice slow-mo montage video for someone's wedding, put some music over it from a site such as Soundstripe or Epidemic Sound, and leave it at that. But to progress your video journey, you really need to take the time to capture audio on the day. Now audio is, in comparison, a lot simpler than learning video. There's only a couple of rules you need to learn about, things about microphone to subject distance, signal to noise ratio, these kind of things, and clipping, making sure that your audio isn't too loud, too quiet, and wind. So I'm going to start with the on-camera mic first and then go into my audio equipment. These are like lapel mics and audio recording boxes, and then finish off with the cabling, what I would suggest to bring to every single wedding. On my handheld rig here, which is the Sony FX30, we use a Deity D3 Mic Pro, which is this one just here, and I have a dead cat on it. It's essentially just a wind muff. When you're shooting in strong winds, like outside, any wind that goes into your mic is going to make a rustling sound. The furry externals of this kind of capture and deaden that sound like a dead cat. It looks super fluffy. Kids love it as well, so it gets all the kids in the families and stuff on board. And I have it mounted to the wooden side handle on my setup here, and then directly into the camera there. On the back of the Deity there is a stepless gain control. This is like your volume knob. Instead of using the volume dials inside the Sony, I turn them all the way down to bare minimum, like 5 on the volume settings. And then I can control the sound through the back here, and I just look at the monitor waveforms for the audio on the monitor or on the back of the camera if you don't have a monitor. This is really good for picking up the sounds of the day, so people cheering, crying, speaking off the cuff, moments that you haven't prepared for, so ones where it's like a ceremony or a speech. Those can be recorded with this great bag here. This is for the rest of the day. And when you're playing back your video, making an edit, a montage for it, you can interject those sounds, and you can have like sounds of birds, sounds of the water outside if it's an outdoor one. You can have, you know, kids laughing or whatever. It just really adds a bit more impact to your videos than just having nothing but a music track over it. Moving on now to the equipment bag. Now this is just a cheap accessories bag I picked up off Amazon. It's a little bit shabby, and compartmentalization has broken down over the years, but I haven't replaced it with anything yet. But inside there's a couple of audio pieces of equipment, some short cables and some lapel mics. So I'll run you through what I use now. We'll start with probably the most important one, which is this. This is the Tascam DR10L Pro. This is probably the best audio source that I have for the entire wedding day. This I reserve for the groom or one of the people getting married essentially. It's got internal recording only. It's got its own high quality lav mic as well, which screws in, so this is not going to come apart. There is 32-bit float audio on this, which means there is over 1,000 decibels of dynamic range on the audio recording. So if anything clips because someone's shouted or anyone's too quiet because they're whispering, I can compress the channel afterwards and I can get all of that audio back. Pop this in the pocket of the groom, usually internal pocket, and then I will clip that lapel mic just to his suit, just by where the flower is usually. It can be that way or that way, it doesn't really make a difference in my experience. And then I wrap the cable around here. It runs off AAAs, which is really handy for getting long bursts of audio, and it is something that I would use typically for the most important person on the wedding day. One where I'm going to take the audio source and overlay it over a video for emotional impact, for instance. Coupling with that, we then have the second most important audio source, the Sony TX660. It's a very thin dictaphone style recording device. Very simple to operate, battery lasts a very long time, and it's got an internal recording capability of about 8 gigabytes. You can lock the buttons on the side so they don't accidentally get nudged inside. And for this one, I will typically put this in 2 places. One, during the ceremony, it will be on the officiant, the person doing it, the reverend, vicar, celebrant, whatever, and they will have this on their lapel or their shirt, and we just tuck it in just like this. Absolutely fine. But what I also use this for, and this is a nice hack, is to pick up some of these neoprene or elasticated sleeves on Amazon. This can go around any kind of microphone that a venue has, and you can tuck this inside, nestle it alongside the microphone. And if you're in an instance where you cannot record the microphone from the venue, maybe they have restrictions in place, which means you can't get to their speaker system, you can't get to their audio interface to get a line in, this will pick up its own audio source from the speaker with the microphone straight away. The next piece of audio equipment is a high quality audio interface recorder. This one is the Zoom F3, which is a couple of years old now, but still excellent. It has a spot for 2 XLR inputs, which means I can plug into audio equipment, digital pianos, audio interfaces for bands, DJ equipment, etc. I can plug straight in here, and this has that 32-bit float, so 1000 decibels of dynamic range. I typically run that off a external power pack, so it has pretty much unlimited recording times. Takes massive SD cards, and I think I've got about 120 hours worth of audio recording left on that before it runs out, and I've been using the same card for about 2 years now. It's very simple to use. There's basically one button to change it between microphone system and line system. It is worth noting that only the line system has effective 32-bit float, because if you plug a line system, so basically a line out from an audio source, into that and then select the microphone option as a power input type, the microphone option has a built-in amplifier, so it's going to make that audio source much louder than it needs to be, and it will go beyond that 1000 decibel range. It will actually clip 32-bit audio. So if you are using that, just keep it online. Plug something in. It doesn't matter if the audio source on it is small or big, it is recording and it is recoverable afterwards. It makes absolutely no difference what settings you have. To match up with that, we have a room mic. This is just the H1E by Zoom. This is very basic. It still has that 32-bit float, and it is an XY microphone configuration. This I will just pop on a table somewhere, behind a table, behind a chair, on a shelf or something. This just captures room tone. So this is really handy if you just need to get the ambience of the room, you need to have the chatter, you need to put this in front of the bride and groom, and so you can capture their reactions to any kind of speeches happening. Or if you're just unsure, you haven't been able to put your other audio sources in very many places. Sometimes places like churches would be quite restrictive. So I'll just pop this as a safety, down by where the bride and groom are getting married at the front. And it's just an extra audio source. These are super cheap now, only about 70 or 80 pounds for 32-bit float. On the other end, I have the original Zoom H5, and I was just laughing at how battered this thing is. It's completely destroyed by now. But the reason why I keep this, even though I've bought the replacement Zoom H1, is it can cover 2 jobs pretty well. It's got the XY on the top, but it also has XLRs at the bottom. Reason why I keep this is if there is a situation where, I've had this before, where there is a live musician at the back of a church and he's doing the interludes in between stuff, and I want to record that one, but also they're using an internal microphone system for the church and I want to record that one as well. I have the ability to get 2 ambience based audio recordings or 2 XLR channels from different parts of the room. This doesn't do the particular job very well. The batteries aren't very good on this, and it is covered in a weird, sticky kind of external. This black covering on these H5s wear down, and it becomes really grippy and weird, and I can't seem to figure out how to get rid of it. but it's better than getting rid of it because I'd only get 30 or 40 pounds for it. More efficient just to keep it just in case. Okay, we are working down the list. We are now on to the original DJI mics. I'm actually using a DJI mic 2 here, which I'm borrowing from Kyle, just so I can demonstrate how effective these are. These are 2 individual audio recorders, not 32-bit float, that's the 2nd gen. These are the 1st gen, so 2 internal recorders and the receiver, which goes on top of your camera. Now, typically, I won't actually use the receiver at all. I use these as standalone audio recorders. I put them on people doing readings at the wedding. So typically in British weddings, at least, you'll have at least 1 or 2 people doing readings throughout the ceremony. I'll clip these on them. There's 2 ways to attach, either with the grippy clip here, or what I prefer to use is the magnetic square. I pop this under their top, with their permission, and clip that little magnet on the outside. If it's a lady I'm miking up, I will typically ask another lady to mic them up for me instead of me do this. Then I can control this remotely by pressing the record button on the top of this. I can see the audio record levels on here, and I can either keep that in my pocket or I can attach it to this somewhere. As I say, the Gen 2s do exist, as well as a variety of other DJI mics. There's mini ones which have auto levels, which are great. And there's the DJI Mic 2, which is the same. It just has internal 32-bit recording, so you get that dynamic range adjustment, whereas this doesn't. Because this is what I would consider a lower level recording option compared to what else I have, I'm not too fussed about it being 32-bit float. And then in the rest of this, we've just got some microphones. We've got a white lav, which is good if somebody has just a white shirt on for like a summer wedding, or if a bride would like to be mic'd up, we can mic her up with a white mic. We have another good quality mic. This is another locking one. This is from my old Tascam, which broke. The connection point here snapped off essentially. Up here, just a selection of very small 3.5mm patch cables, which I would connect, the receiver from that into here, or I would connect, one device to another. You can daisy chain a lot of these, so I could take the XLR out from a board into here, get the headphones out with this patch cable into one of the DJI mics, and then send that wirelessly to the receiver, which I could then daisy chain into my camera, so I can get board audio straight into my camera. Various qualities of microphones. I typically try and use the DJI one where I can, or the Tascam locking one, just because they're the better quality. But it's always better to have enough, or even too many mics rather than not enough. Lastly, we are on to my audio cable bag. This is a bag by Cord Bag, which is a really nice, just really heavy duty accessories pouch, medium size. And inside, we have everything you would need to connect pretty much everything to everything else. So when breaking down what audio cables we need to think of the 3 most common audio outputs from boards and machines. This would be XLR, 1/4 inch, RCA. I would say that 1/4 inch and XLR is 99% of the instances, and RCA is that 1%, but it's better to have the cable than never have it and not be able to patch in. And then we have to consider our inputs. For me, we have XLRs on the zooms. We have 3.5mm in for receivers, etc. So I need basically a combination of all of those things. These are adapters should we need them. Personally, I've never needed these ever, but we have things like male-to-male XLRs, 1/4 inch to XLR, 1/4 inch to 3.5, 3.5 to 1/4 inch. So these will just adapt one of these if I need to in a pinch. A standard TRS 1/4 inch cable. This would be things for like board audio. Obviously with this type ending, I can't plug into my F3 at that point, but I believe I can plug straight into the bottom of my Zoom H5 like this, should I need to. 1/4 inch to XLR. This is one of my most commonly used cables. XLR into the F3, 1/4 inch into whatever audio recorder. XLR to XLR cable as well, very handy. This is the RCA to 3.5mm cable. This I would just adapt up with potentially one of the 3.5 to 1/4 inch, an XLR to 1/4 inch female port. Don't think I've ever used that one. A 3.5mm splitter. If the only way to get audio is from the DJ's soundboard, you know, where he mixes on there and he's got a headphone out, that's the only way we can get in. He won't let you get to the back, to the ports on the back to get master outs. You can plug this in, split his headphone source so he can still have his own, but then we've got a separate one for ourselves. Same goes with this, it's an XLR splitter. This is generally something I would put at the back of a board. If they've got an XLR out to their sound system, you can put this in the chain and then you've got an XLR out as well. Make sure you ask permission if you're going to mess around with cables on the back of somebody's soundboard. And then this very damaged and old XLR to 3.5mm. Just kind of handy. It's not the best, but in a pinch it will definitely do the job. Just connect to something like the H1E, which has a 3.5mm in socket on it. So that's my equipment list. It has been a breakdown of everything I've used over the years of collecting this equipment. I've learned so much from other YouTubers like Matt Johnson. I want to shout him out specifically. He sells his own cable equipment, which I can't seem to get in this country, but if he wants to send it to me, feel free. It's always a work in progress. I believe that if you were to start out today to be buying audio equipment for your cameras, everything should be 32-bit flow. It is now the industry standard and you don't have to worry about controlling your gain or worrying about dynamic range as much, because you can essentially fix it in post with compression and turning up the volume, etc. Make sure you buy some good quality cables. You don't want to have any grounding issues with it. You would prefer to get things which are braided or avoid the basics range from Amazon. Try and spend about £20 a cable. I would say that this selection would cost you about £100 to get like the good quality cables that will last a long time. Audio recorders, I would not recommend the F3 anymore. There is cheaper versions of XLR in recording boxes with 32-bit float, which exist on the market. The only reason why I have that is because I bought it the month it came out in this country. Things like the H1E, the H4E, any of the E range from Zoom is a 32-bit float recorder and will do the job perfectly. Tascam DR10L Pros are fantastic audio recorders for on-body. I use these personally for my talking head stuff, for corporate stuff outside of weddings as well. Just take good care of the cable if you are wrapping it like this, else it will get damaged. If you like this kind of content, stick around and subscribe. I really appreciate the support. This is a channel for other wedding photographers and videographers, more increasingly videographers nowadays, to come and learn what they can. So I'll see you in a future video.